Good evening, friends. I think we are just 36 hours or maybe 40 hours away from the interim budget. But before that, tomorrow evening, Fed is going to give us some detail about when can we expect the rate cut. Why? Because FOMC meeting is going to get concluded tomorrow, and post that, the market will try to understand from the press conference that will follow post FOMC meeting what Jerome Powell has to say about the growth. But right now, data looks clearly suggests that market was expecting rate cut. No one expects rate cut tomorrow. So let's be very frank about it. Market was expecting rate cut to happen in the month of March, which is now probabilities that it could go to May. When we predicted and when we came in front of you equity outlook 2024, we predicted rate cut can happen in June 2024, first rate cut. So let's try to see. So that couple of events that are lined up tomorrow, the FOMC meeting, on the first, the interim budget. And of course, I'm going to come in front of you on 1st Feb, not with the equity outlook, but the budget analysis. Now, market has become extremely choppy. If you look at the market, one day it's up, another day it's down. And the choppiness has increased substantially in the market, which is not a good sign, I must tell you that. Because good market is one market which has a very less volatility. Volatility is a part of the market, but we don't want so much volatility also, which does not give a good sense of direction, which way the market is going to go up or go down. So I think the volatility has really increased. Yesterday market moved up, today market went down. If you remember, on the day of that inauguration of Ram Temple, everyone says Jai Sri Ram, and the next day people were saying Hey Ram, kind of in a jokingly manner. So I think this is happening at regular intervals. So I'm going to discuss something, but before I open the floor for question and answer, I have a small presentation. Before that, disclaimer. This webinar is only to understand and enhance your understanding about the equity market. Whenever you invest in the equity market, is subject to market risk, and it does have a higher risk. And past performance is no indicator of future returns. Now let's look at what happened yesterday. So normally, before any budget, there is an economy survey. But this time there is no main budget, it's only interim budget. The government came out with the Indian economy review. Economy survey will come, but it will come before post election, because budget ke pehle aayega wo. Now the economy survey always gives you good insights about what's happening in the economy and what should we expect going forward and what are the reforms the government should do. Not necessarily government may obliged to follow that advice. But when I read that economy review, which runs to about 70 to 73 pages, I must request everyone who have a little interest about what's happening in the economy must go through that. Why? Because it has given an idea how Indian economy has basically behaved since independence till 2024, and they've divided it into two parts. That is pre-Modi, post-Modi. Now, very obvious, when the government is in power, normally the data is being presented in a manner which suits the incumbent government. So that's the reality. So I'm not going to go into the debate of what happened and how happened in this one. What we all need, because past to past, वो हो गया. अभी उसका postmortem करके कोई फायदा नहीं है. Let's try to understand what is stored in the future. And what this economy review suggests is a very, very bright picture. And I'll explain you why what it says. And I request everyone, this is available free of cost, so you can also go to the Ministry of Finance and read this document, the Indian Economy Review 2024. If you Google search, I think it will take you to the page, and it's a PDF file. running into excess of 70%. Please go through that, and it's a very interesting read. See, sometimes it gives you a perspective about what happened in the economy, how it happened, and where do we stand. Now, the economy review clearly says that India's growth is going to remain strong, mainly due to the macroeconomic and financial stability. So while the world is going to slow down, India is unlikely to see the same pace of slowdown in the Indian economy purely because of strong domestic growth. So this year, that is FY 2024, India's GDP is expected to grow at 7.3%. I must tell you that is higher than what RBI predicted or projected, and also higher by the international agencies. So that's what it says. And normally, since this data, the presentation is made in the month of end of January, it could be very closer to the reality. Why? Because a lot of things are available in the system, and hence 7.3%, iska 7.2 ho sakta hai, but don't expect to happen to 7%. So I think 7.3% India is going to grow, and which will be the third consecutive year post-pandemic that India would have grown in excess of 7%, which is commendable by all means. But story doesn't end there. The market tried to discount the futures. Even for FY 2025, that is financial year starting from 1st April 2024 till 31st March 2025, the GDP is likely to grow at 7%. So there will be a decline from 7.3% to 7%. 30 bips decline. While you need to see in the context of the global economy, which is going to decline substantially in 2024. So, but what it's the same economy review, the Indian economy review says that by 2030, India is expected to grow in excess of 7%. And if India can grow at 8 to 9%, I can tell you by 2047, where India wants to be in a developed economic status, it will easily be achieved. And hence, all policy reform that Indian government has to do, whether it happens in interim budget, it happens in July budget, which is the main budget, and so on and so forth, I think the focus is to basically ensure that we do structural reforms which can give sustainable GDP growth to the economy. The one sentence before I move to the what kind of size of the economy would be based on this economy review, it says that headline inflation is expected to decline to the target gradually. That's what the economy review says so. Now, word gradually, I think, is a very, very important word to focus on. So do not expect a drastic decline in the inflation in the near future. And I think one more event which has taken place is the Red Sea. You know, if you look at some of the commentary and post results, I think people are a little concerned about the freight rates have gone up. And when I'm going to discuss in my Friday webinar, I'm going to discuss about that, how much freight rate have gone up because of Red Sea issue. And now that could come back and could hurt the inflation trajectory. So it says inflation decline target gradually. In the same document, it gives a very nice perspective about how India's GDP is going to grow. 10 साल पहले 1.9 trillion US dollar था, which is expected to be 3.7 trillion by end of 2024. So 1.9 to 3.7 trillion, that is, we have doubled in 10 years. In next 3 years, that 3.7 trillion is expected to go to 5 trillion. And the same 5 trillion is expected to be 7 trillion by 2030. So let's look at the data again. 1.9 trillion in FY 2014, going up to 3.7 trillion in 2024, going up to 2027, 5 trillion, and then in next 3 years, it will further go to $7 trillion. That means $1.3 trillion additional in next 3 years, which will make India a third largest economy in the world, and then 7 trillion economy by 2030, which is additional 2 trillion in next 3 years. So try to understand the pace at which India is going to grow is commendable. And I think if we need to really achieve this, government has to really make, it is doing reforms. It's not that it's not doing reforms. It has to maintain the pace of reforms in a manner to help us to achieve 7 trillion economy by 2030. Now, how does this impact Indian market, equity market? We all talk about market cap to GDP ratio. Am I right? If GDP has to grow, the market cap of India has to grow, because you assume that GDP ratio, market cap to GDP ratio, remains at the same level. In other words, India's market cap in next 7 years can move from 3.7 trillion to 7 trillion in next 6 to 7 years, assuming the same market cap to GDP ratio. If the market to GDP ratio will expand further, the market can grow at the faster pace. Today I was looking at, when I was going through this economy review, and I was going back to my prediction which I made on 22nd April 2022. I again repeat the date and the year, 22nd April 2022, and I made this prediction. Many of you would have come in that event, which was offline event, where I did a prediction in MCA Bandra Kurla complex in the evening, and I asked people to take a picture of that prediction, and that prediction was about Sensex and the Nifty. And that time I said by April 2027, the Sensex to be 1.25 lakhs. Sensex can be 1.25 lakhs. And the Nifty at 37,000. And I was looking at, is it now feasible looking at what I predicted 2 years back, where we had not Russia-Ukraine crisis, we did not have Israel-Hamas crisis, Red Sea and what not. And I believe that what I predicted on 22nd April 2022 is very much likely to be possible in the next 3 years. So, because we need to grow from this level, it has to go by 60-70% in absolute value, which I personally believe it's quite feasible purely because the GDP is going to grow. And if GDP is going to grow, Indian equity market has to grow. Now coming back to the, very quickly, because I know normally I don't take so much time in my presentation on QnA, but I thought this is important data, which event that took place yesterday. I must brief you because I did not come in front of you yesterday. So I thought, let me. Last week, despite the volatility, both Sensex and Nifty closed in the green. Mid and small cap continue to outperform. I don't know how long they will have this kind of a delta between the large cap and the mid and small cap. Somewhere I believe there has to be some consideration needs to be done in the mid and small cap. So IT did not perform well, Pharma did not perform well, FMC did not perform well. And if you remember, I did mention about the commentary of Hindustan Unilever, which says that the rural demand, and in fact, if you look at, sometimes you read some commentary of some companies, they believe that rural demand is very strong. But Hindustan Unilever makes us believe that rural demand is a little weak, and hence, but anyway, it's down. And yesterday, I think ITC data came out and which says that cigarette business has taken some amount of a beating. Now, PSU continues to do very well. Energy did well. PSU Bank did extremely well. Metal did well purely because the price of steel have started going up. The China is going up some kind of a stimulus, and that's the reason metal prices have gone up. Infra continues to do very well. Realty did well, up by 2.3%, but overall market trend was positive last week. When I say last week, matlab Wednesday to Tuesday. That is last Wednesday till this one. But YTD, if you look at it, I think the picture, like Realty was on the top of the table, which has now come down to maybe 5th or 6th position. PSU Bank did extremely well. mid and small cap continue to outperform, but Nifty and Sensex YTD, that is in 2024, they are in red, they are not in green. So somewhere large caps are seeing some amount of profit booking, and one of the reasons could be FI's heavy selling, which I'm going to discuss little later in this presentation. Bank Nifty underperforming very significantly, Nifty Finance underperforming very, very significantly, Nifty FMCG underperforming significantly, 4.2. So it's down by 4.2%. So I think we know where the selling seems to be happening from the FIIs. Which stock did well in the Nifty 50 in 2024? ONGC up by 22%. Adani Ports, which was one of the, if you look at, go back to 2023 and see the company that performed very badly, Adani Group, what was the top of this is. But what are the company suppliers? Bharti Airtel is up by 12.3%. Three auto companies, Bajaj Auto, Hero MotoCorp and Tata Motors. And today, you must be all aware that Tata Motors surpassed Maruti Suzuki market cap, which is again a big milestone. Sun Pharma is up by 9%. But if you look at the company that performed very badly in Nifty 50, HDFC Bank is top of the cycle, top of the table. Asian Paints, HDFC Life Insurance, ISR, LTI, Mindtree, sorry I missed that 15. Divi's Lab. Again, again I want to harp on, we all want, kaun sa sector chalega. Your returns are not decided which sector is going to do well. Your returns are going to decide by which company is going to do well. And why I am saying so, making a statement like this, because I want to tell you that sector का ज्ञान कुछ फायदा नहीं है, पैसा नहीं बनाता है. Why Sun Pharma, which is from the pharmaceutical industry, is among the best performing company in Nifty 50. At the same time, Divi's Life, which is also into the pharma, is down by 9%. Can you imagine that one is up by 9%, other is down by 9%? कितना wide variance है उसमें. And hence I want to tell you, at the same way, ISR Motor is down by 11%. Okay? And same way, Bajaj Auto is up by 11.3%. Again, look at the variance. Or Hero MotoCorp is up by 10.8%. So again, I want everyone to understand, sector का ज्ञान लेके कोई फायदा नहीं है. Ultimately, your returns are a function of what stock you are holding in the portfolio. In fact, I tweeted something on Sunday where I've given a very interesting data how if you are at the top of the cycle, if you invest, your returns would always be very, very marginal. In fact, had you invested in Jan 2008, which was the peak of the market, and if you continue to remain invested for 16 years or so, your return would have been not less than the bank fixed deposit in the Sensex. So that's why it's very, very critical that what price you get into and what kind of returns you make. FIIs, which I was talking about, in the first half, they were net positive, 3,400 crore. In the second half of January, they are heavy seller, 27,362 crore. It's not a small amount by any stretch of imagination. And due to that, month to date or year to date, whatever you want to call it, it's down by 24,000 crore FI investment. Now, had it been no strong support from the domestic institutional investors, your Nifty would have been down by more than 5%. But today we are just down by 1% or so, purely because of domestic inflow has been very, very strong. And hence I always keep telling investors, look at the data contextually. Just data looking has no meaning at all. You have to look at the data contextually and then make a sense of what it is there. Since we are in the result season, very quickly, the net profit is down by 3.2%, while that's on quarter on quarter, but year on year, the net profit is up. I think the refinery companies, year quarter on quarter, have not done so well. Even some of the NBFCs have not done so well, which is dragging down overall numbers. But before I open the floor, I came across a very nice, interesting quote in the economy review, this one. And I thought it's very, very appropriate. We all need to appreciate that statement. This is the statement. Humans are not capable of appreciating the unseen. The mistakes not made, the risk avoided. जो चीज हुआ नहीं और वो हो जाते तो बहुत कुछ हो जाता. But we don't appreciate that कि नहीं हुआ, इससे अच्छा हम लोग बच गए. Am I right? And that's where I think people don't realize that this is, of course, this is not my quote. I've taken from the Economy Review, which was presented yesterday. I like this statement, and I think you should appreciate that. We need to appreciate whether it's your equity portfolio, whether your human relationship that we have, or any kind of if you're driving a car and if you about to meet with an accident, but you did not meet with an accident, but had you met with an accident, the risk that could have been there, we don't appreciate that unseen because वो हुआ नहीं है, and then we move on in the life. And I think we need to take some learning कि होता तो क्या होता है, and hence, और वो होता तो क्या हो सकता था, and hence we should be conscious of doing that. So I want you to imbibe this philosophy in your investment, because I'm not a what we call life guru or something. I'm more of an investment guy. Try to avoid stocks which, if you had invested, would have how much drag down it would have portfolio. This is a learning that you need to, and then once you appreciate that, you will keep avoiding that kind of a mistake, because sometimes you don't appreciate unseen. With this, let's open the floor. सुनील भाई आपको भी नमस्कार मेरा सुनील सरस्वत जी. Many thanks for so patiently guiding us through this investment journey and patiently and also repeatedly educating us on the nuances of it. Sir, pleasure is all mine. My question is, if there is a likelihood of a time gap extending from few days to months between the profit booking of an overheated stock and purchasing of new stock, which is the best and most excellent way of parking funds in the interim? Is it like bank, SB, FD? So, sir, I think what you're trying to say is that you get out of a company which is overheated and re-enter the company, which is like trying to time the market. Sir, I'll be very honest with you, it's extremely difficult. शायद जरूरी नहीं कि जो कंपनी आपने बेची है that will go down only. Not necessarily. Sometimes company can keep going up and up, and you will keep wondering, यार मुझे तो उसको profit book करना था, वापस उसको लेना था, because I can rebuy it, so maybe that it could help me to do tax harvesting. It's practical, possible नहीं होता है. So my advice would be, tax harvesting is a good. Not many people does it. Why? Because ultimately it turns out to be not a very great exercise. It may look extremely good 1 year, 2 years. It may not be very excellent over a period of 5 to 10 days, because sometimes you get out of a company which you may not be able to re-enter ever. And then you repent, यार क्यों उसको बेच दिया मैंने. Are you getting my point actually? So don't do that. And your reason to get out of a company should never be the reason for tax efficiency. Your reason to get out of the company should be only because you believe now that from this level, you believe, it can always happen कि ऊपर चला जाएगा, but you believe strongly that if I exit from this company, because whatever the reason why I bought this company, now that reasons are no longer valid. In the sense, it could be valuation, it could be growth story, it could be the industry dynamics, and so on and so forth. And if that is so, please get out of that company, but not because of tax efficiency, because you believe this company is not going to generate alpha from this level. So I'll give one classical example of that. We were owning one company in our Infinity, also in PMS, also FMCG company. And then we realized that this company has reached its potential and is not going to create wealth for the investors. And we said, okay, let's move out of that company, which we did that actually. But that was not because we believe that the tax efficiency, because we believe this company is going to underperform. The company did underperform post that. So that's the way you should look at it. So Sunilji, I hope my answers gives you clarity. In case if I'm unable to explain it properly, please repost it and I'll make one more attempt to explain you. Dr. Saab, Subrata sir, we're extremely blessed and grateful for your excellent advice on stock market as a whole, along with the well-informed, superb deliberation. Thank you, sir. Could you please enlighten us how can a stock with excellent quality, with attractive valuation, very positive financial can be having bearish technical trend? Does that exit any role of irrational fear psychosis, for example, HDFC Bank? So, Dr. Subrata sir, see that the fact of the life is that technical is bearish, because technical indicators are suggesting that. So we have seen many times a good quality company available at attractive valuation can frustrate for a longer period of time. ITC was a classical example, I must tell you. From 2013, sorry, not 2012 till 2011 or so, 2021 or so, this company frustrated investors. Same company, same business model, and yet it frustrated the investors. L&T, another classical example. Post 2008, when this company reached its peak in terms of the valuations, company frustrated investors till 2022 or so, but it did extremely well. So yes, sometimes it is irrational fear psychosis, or sometimes it could be that market is trying to discount the future and hence is not willing to give that premium which it used to command in the past. And hence the valuation which looks attractive right now may look a little expensive as the future numbers keeps rolling out, and hence that would happen. And if the numbers start deteriorating, even the quality which looks good may not be so great. Am I right? So you need to understand the strategy. And I don't know, Dr. Saab, I made a presentation and I'll tell you which date so that you can I made a prediction, and that time I had a lot of backlash from you people, because that time this HDFC bank was one of the most favorite bank of most of the investors. But unfortunately, my job is to guide you without being popular or unpopular, because that's not my job. Am I right? I don't get paid to be the say what is not right. I get paid for what I believe is right. So somewhere in 2021 or so, I said why HDFC Bank will underperform. So I'm just searching for it. So just give me 1 minute. I'll give you the exact date. 1 second. So I did a presentation on 19th March 2022, when I said that why HDFC Bank will struggle to outperform. And what I predicted then has really come true. Basically, 2 साल में बैंक ने कुछ पैसा नहीं बनाया आपके लिए. So my suggestion would be, yes, this is the way market behaves, because market is not trying to look at the present. I think market is the technical indicators are suggesting that future doesn't look so promising, and hence market is not willing to pay the price, even though even though the valuation is looking good, quality is looking good. And if you can see on my screen as I speak to you, then HDFC Bank is down by 1.31% 2 years mein, versus the Sensex, which is up by 24.37. I think some of you may also have a video of that. Please listen to the HDFC Bank presentation, and you'll realize why I was bearish 2 years back. Bearish on HDFC Bank 2 years back. Syam sir, my understanding is that diagnostic sector should do reasonably well. Why I'm saying so? That competitive intensity which was coming from some of the new age startup like Tata 1mg and NetBets and so is on a declining. Number one. Number two, if you look at the complete diagnostic sector, where smaller players are being acquired by the larger players. In other words, the consolidation is happening. And as and when the consolidation happens, it increases the purchasing power, or the not the purchasing power, sorry, the pricing power for the industry. Because smaller number of players, if the smaller number of players, you will be able to demand the prices. And number three, I think the number of diseases are increasing in the country, whether we like it or not, because of global warming and so on and so forth. And it's a higher probability that your doctor would prescribe you one way or other way diagnostic test, which will further increase. So there will be a volume growth, there will be a value growth that will happen in diagnostic sector. And this is for the long term. This is not for the 3 months or 6 months. But overall, this sector looks a little promising. Usman saying, in the previous webinars, we had told us that we are very positive on real estate and capital goods sector. What is your related cement sector? Can enter mid-cap Mojo Stocks cement sector? So Usman ji, let me stand corrected, or let me correct you. I did mention that we are positive on capital goods. I never said I'm positive on real estate. So somewhere I think, and if I made that statement, please, I would love to see where I made the statement. I don't think I made that statement. I'm very clear cut. The real estate, even though it's doing very well, I've been proved wrong. That's what I said. It did extremely well, but I don't believe. And when I was looking at some data, also doesn't give me a very happy feeling about real estate. So I don't think capital. So I believe real estate may not do well. Capital goods will definitely do well. Coming back to your cement. So I made this statement, Usmanji, many times. The large cap, the cement within the large cap in cements industry, the large caps are not going to do extremely well. Why? Because if you look at their EV per ton, let's say enterprise value per ton, they are very, very high. But with the many small and the mid-size cement companies, I again repeat, there are many small and mid-size cement companies where the EV per ton is very, very low. What does this mean? They are actually a takeover targets for the larger, because this complete cement sector is going to go through a lot of consolidation. We know Adani entered by acquiring ACC and Ambuja Cement. Some of the cement companies are available for sale, and that will get acquired by some of the big players. In fact, one mid-sized company is also in the rumor it can be acquired by another prominent business house. So that I believe that there will be a lot of M&A that's going to take place in the cement sector in 3 to 5 years. And these are those companies which are mid and small. Now you have a two choice as a corporate. Either you set up a greenfield or you acquire someone. Today, if you set up a greenfield or brownfield, your cost of setting up plant is very, very high as compared to taking over some of the existing company available. Number one. Number two, you are basically that plant that when the moment you acquire, that assets will start making money for you. When you set up a brownfield or greenfield, first you need to spend money, and it will take couple of years for plant to stabilize and then start making money for you. So I think M&A has become a more what we call feasible option, or more opportunity for the large players to do that. And I believe a lot of M&A would take place that will unlock a lot of value from the mid and small cap. This is not the statement I made today. I've been making this statement from last 1 year. So if you go through Usmanji, my various webinars, and whenever we discuss about cement, I did mention this very loud and clear. Bhargavi Lakshmi ji saying, sir, we need to correct and full name of the script to be displayed. Ma'am, I not very clear what exactly you mean by that. Can you just give some example where you are saying that we are not putting correct name or full name of the company? Please help me understand so that I don't know where you are coming from, ma'am. So please help me understand, Bhargavi ji. Sela Durai is saying, can I sell all growth stock more than 25? Sir, with folded hands. Again, I repeat, your reason to get out of a company should never be the percentage gain. Or your reason to come out of a company should never be percentage fall. Your reason to come out of a company only when the story for which you invested in that company has undergone change. If the story has not undergone change, why do you? Peter Lynch said a very nice thing, am I right? He said, do not cut the flowers and do not weed the waters. आप लोग भूल जाते हो, मैं बहुत बार बोल चुका हूँ वो चीज. So, if the company is doing well and it has a leg to go, I'll give you classical example, Tata Motors. In October 2022, in one of the webinars, we discussed with Mohit and I were discussing, we confessing, and we suggested Tata Motors. It did extremely well in 2023. It's doing extremely well in 2024 also. Should you come out of that company because you made 25% gain? And that applies to growth stocks, value stocks, sabko. Your philosophy of getting out of a company should always be cast in the stone. Saying, वो story change हुआ है कि नहीं हुआ है? If the story has changed, please come out of that company. Whether you are making money or you have to book losses, loss book कर दो, कोई तकलीफ नहीं उसमें. But story remains intact. Why do you want to get out? Let that company grow and make money for you. Rajiv Pal, what are the reasons for the market behaving like a monkey jumping? One day huge upside, next day heavy selling down. Is it a bad sign for the market? Yes, Rajiv ji, I did mention in my opening remarks that volatility has increased, which is not a good sign. Normally, this volatility, this kind of volatility means we can expect some corrections in the coming days. In what form it will come, what could the reasons for that, this one is very difficult to. See, I think the reason why market is behaving like this, because every day news flows are कभी खुशी कभी गुम, कभी अच्छे न्यूज़ आ गए तो मार्केट चला जाता है. कल रिलायंस का न्यूज़ आ गया, ओएनजीसी का न्यूज़ आ गया, मार्केट ऊपर चला गया. सम डेज एचडीएफसी बैंक का रिजल्ट आ गया तो मार्केट ही चला गया. सो आई थिंक इट्स ऑल्सो अ फंक्शन ऑफ समथिंग हैज टू हैपन जियोपॉलिटिकली, द मार्केट विल टेक क्यू एंड देन इट विल डिक्लाइन. So these are the factors that is happening. And see, sentiments, in the short term, the sentiments are very difficult to explain. And hence, we don't have to basically try to analyze why what is happening. But the historical trend does suggest that this kind of volatility normally is not a good sign for the market. Normally is not a good sign. There have always been exceptions. This could be also an exception. But normally it's not a good exception. Now this is a challenge for the short term. Medium to long term, people will not remember this kind of volatility also. People will move on because किसको याद आता है क्या हुआ था क्या नहीं हुआ था. So yes, in short term, this volatility is not a good sign for the market. It's a bad sign, as you rightly said. Yes, you are right. Dr. Sarang sir, we have many doctors today on our webinar. Hi sir, what are your views on the rotational momentum investing strategy and what market conditions are best to apply it and when not to apply it? Please guide and also suggest ways in which we can use market screener to do momentum investing. So we do have a momentum investing in our this one. So if you go to our momentum now stocks on our website, that's available. So I think that's the best way you can use MarketsMojo to start. Dr. Sarang sir, you can do that. Today we have 14 stocks in that, and all 14 stocks have given handsome returns to the investors. Just can you share my screen if you don't mind? Yes, you can see this. This is a momentum. So you go to stocks, sir, and then we have added 3 more products. One is Mojo stocks was always there. Then we have added hidden turnarounds, momentum now, and reliable performance. You can use momentum now, which you mentioned about, and try to use that as a strategy. I'm not a big expert on the way you explain me. How can I use momentum strategy? I'm not a big expert, and I don't play with the momentum. I'm more of a fundamental guy, and I prefer to rather make less money. But because for me, the capital protection is of a paramount importance than anything else. So as long as your capital protection is there, and if you are able to make decent returns from the market, you are better off. So, but we do have a momentum now stocks. Please go ahead that and use that, sir, Dr. Saab. I think that will solve all your problems. Arindam goes, please send sell call the day before the actual sell happen in our personal portfolio. It will gain our port profits more. I'm not very clear, sir. What do you mean by please send sell call the day before the actual sell happen in our personal portfolio? मैं समझा नहीं सर आपको. What do you basically mean by that? We can generate sell adders only when the call has become sell in our system, right? No one has a control कि वो कल बनेगा कि नहीं बनेगा. So I don't know, sir, Arindam sir, what exactly you want us to do. Please elaborate on that, and I'll be more than happy to. If you have a good suggestion, we'll definitely implement. But I must understand what exactly you are trying to convey to us. Oh, नहीं उस्मान सर ठीक है सर, वो तो आपकी मिशन है, कोई बात नहीं उसमें तो okay, let me reiterate for benefit of everyone. In 2024, we believe defense should do well, we believe railways should do well, we believe pharma should do well, we believe capital goods and infra should do very well. These are the sectors we strongly believe should do very well in 2024. Duranga World says, sir, is it time with high volatility to go for value mutual fund? See, in fact, I was looking at some data, and I must tell you that, this mutual fund is really, and I'm going to present this data. When can I present this data? So I've just compiled that data. I'll present this. So it's not a very happy scenario, I must tell you that. And since you talk about the value mutual fund, the data which I have right now does not include what we call the value schemes. But I'll definitely try to cover that. I was looking at how many schemes in the mutual fund outperform in 1 year period, 3 year period, 5 years period, and 10 years period. So it was large cap, mid cap, small cap, focus, flexi cap, and so on and so forth. And what I realized is that most of the mutual fund schemes have underperformed their benchmark. So now, since you have asked for value fund, let me try to find out the data also. So, sir, see, you should, we are all little concerned by what's going to happen in the near term. Or have you seen this movie called Guru, which is believed to be made on the life of Dhirubhai Ambani? In that movie, Abhishek Bachchan makes a statement. कभी-कभी शॉर्ट टर्म मुनाफे को देखने के लिए लॉन्ग टर्म का नुकसान नहीं लेना चाहिए, एंड द सेम वे कभी-कभी शॉर्ट टर्म मुनाफे लेने के लिए लॉन्ग टर्म का नुकसान ओवरलुक नहीं करना चाहिए. आई कैन एग्जैक्टली verbatim what dialogue that was, but what basically in essence is that you need to basically balance between you don't forego your long term gain because of the short term this one. See, long term, if you look at it, sir, I think growth will always play out well as compared to value. The value will play out when the market is volatile for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months kind of stuff. The moment you expand your time horizon, I think value will always underperform the growth, and especially in Indian market, because India is a growth market, which I was, that's what economic review says, that India is not going to grow at 7%. It aspires to grow more than 7% by 2030, which is 6 years down the line. And if that's going to happen, I think growth as a strategy over a longer period of time will always outperform. Now, the moment you invest in value mutual fund, I'm just giving an example, it may do well for 6 months. You will feel very happy, but you will not come out of that. Why? Because you think, oh, it's done well. Why should I take out the money from that? And hence, you will not reinvest that money in the growth strategy. And once that you don't do that, over a longer period of time, you will see that the values must have underperformed versus the growth. मुझे ये सब सवाल भेज देना, because I need to ask someone to compile the data on value mutual fund. Lakshmi ji, all PSUs calculated, and they are very expensive, but still all brokers and tuition are suggesting buy PSU, defense, power, railway. Is it right time to buy or should we wait? I will only buy this, which one I buy and strong buy in MM. Perfectly right, Lakshmi ji. I think you gave an answer. You asked a question, you gave an answer also. Yes, in fact, we do believe that defense and railway is more structural story than anything else. Like it's not a short-term momentum story. It's a more structural story. And the way we have seen the gain happening in infra space from 2002 to 2007, something similar is going to play out in the defense and railway. Government is, see, remember one thing people are forgetting, this government focus is tourism. They want to make India, Modi made a statement, I don't know how people remember that, कि जब आप शादी करते हो तो बोला आउट स्टेशन मत चलाओ, आउट ऑफ इंडिया मत चलाओ डेस्टिनेशन वेडिंग के लिए, इंडिया में करो. And a lot of people have now started doing this. Tourism is a big focus. And if tourism has to do well, railway connectivity has to do good. Am I right? Before Ram Mandir temple was constructed, government renovated the complete Ayodhya station. Am I right? They are remodeling which like I read today, I am from Bombay. Now there is a news article with the Siddhivinayak temple. They are going to basically make it more beautiful, more grand. And they are saying the railway station of Dadar will also further be enhanced. So I think that's going to happen. So it's not a short-term story. The same with defense because of geopolitical tension. I think we are going to be the exporter of defense product rather than the importer. And if that's going to happen, I think these stories are going to play out. So please go ahead and buy, Lakshmi ji, all buy and strong buy of this one. Available in the Mojo stock, yeah. Okay. Hey Sunil, can you please explain me the simple words, what is budget? Mir Nasir Ali, sir, budget is nothing but, जैसे सर आप लोग बजट बनाते हो ना घर का, कि इतना इनकम है, इतना एक्सपेंसेस होना चाहिए, एम आई राइट? बजट बांधो ना, उसमें से कितना खर्चा आप करोगे रेस्टोरेंट में, कितना ग्रॉसरी पे करोगे, कितना मिल्क पे करोगे, कितना बच्चे के एजुकेशन पे करोगे, कितना ट्रैवल पे करोगे, एम आई राइट? वो सब करते ना। द सेम वे गवर्नमेंट हैज टू डू, कि कितना पैसा कहाँ से आएगा और कितना खर्चा करने वाले हम लोग, दैट्स कॉल्ड बजट। Kalpit, sir, Ram Biden government announced to retaliate to Iran at direct or offshore location. Is there possibility to correct the market? I don't know, because today Financial Times says that, if you read the first page of Financial Times today, it says that US is not going to do it. So I don't know if this announcement has come in last couple of hours or so, then I'm not aware. But my understanding was that it's not. एक मिनट में दिखाता हूँ आपको, उसका हेडिंग दिखा देता हूँ आप लोग को। Just can you show my screen? If you look, deadly drones, US not looking for Iran war. Okay, so I don't think that's going to happen. तो मुझे नहीं मालूम सर कि ये होने वाला है, पर सी मार्केट वुड नीड सम रीजनिंग. तो मार्केट may go down because of this news, but eventually this kind of news doesn't matter for a long term. Russia-Ukraine war did not make so much sense. Same way Israel-Hamas. Market moved on and market moved up. तो ये होगा थोड़ा बहुत, एक दो दिन का करेक्शन हो सकता है because of this. But this event is not going to spoil the market. That's what my understanding is. Sumit, thank you for continuous guidance. Sunil ji, really appreciate it. Last year you suggested Nasdaq could bounce back, which really did. Do you think now Hong Kong stock exchange would become bounce back? Please suggest. Sumit sir, मेरा कोई ज़्यादा अंडरस्टैंडिंग हांगकॉन्ग मार्केट पे है. नास्डेक प्योरली बिकॉज ऑफ यूएस is the biggest market of the world. Am I right? So that's why, and there is some rub-off effect of what happens in Nasdaq can have an impact on Indian market. That's the reason I follow to some extent. So my morning time, I just try to catch up what happened in the US market. And Indian market I read in the night newspaper post my dinner meal. So Hong Kong I have not have any idea, but my sense is that Hong Kong did miserably bad last year purely because of China not doing well and so on and so forth. It's all dependent upon how China comes up with stimulus, what China does and so on and so forth, and it would be function of that. So, but having said that, I don't think I have enough data to make any comment on Hong Kong market. If time permits, maybe in the future webinar, I'll try to study what's happening in the Hong Kong market and I can make a comment. I assume that you are investing in the Hong Kong market, that's why you're asking me. But right now I don't have enough data which convince me to make any statement which could be, I believe, is right. Sam Sundarji saying, based on experience, what is the suggested time duration to be used to determine technical trend? For example, daily moving average is time duration to be considered as 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. When I suppose this period may be different for different technical indicators. Sir, your question is very much right. But we are asking the wrong person. मैं अपनी लाइफ में मुझे टेक्निकल का टी नहीं मालूम, तो मैं आपको क्या जवाब दूँ. हमारे यहाँ पे वी डू हैव टेक्निकल इंडिकेटर्स वेयर मूविंग एवरेज डेली. Other 6 technical indicators are weekly and monthly, and we use daily, weekly and monthly to derive the technical indicators of that company. So my request would be, since I'm not an expert, but my request would be, please use our technical indicators to judge कि company चलेगी कि नहीं चलेगी. If at all, if you are interested in technical indicators. Lakshmi, thanks for picking my query and wonderful answer by Sunil sir. Thanks a lot sir asking me questions, because आप लोग के सवाल से मैं थोड़ा ज़्यादा knowledgeable बनता हूँ. So Durgesh is asking, in some of the companies quarter on quarter was given important, and in some other companies quarter on quarter for last year's treated as more important. How do you decide that company is doing good in spite of quarter on quarter not being so good? So Durgesh sir, in our IP, when we analyze CFT, we look at which company has a quarterly performance and which company should we look at quarter on quarter and which company we should look at it the Y on Y. Because some industries are seasonal, and if they are seasonal, so they would have a seasonality. Am I right? So our system basically put it this way only. So we analyze the data okay, this company should be analyzed on quarter-on-quarter basis. This company should be analyzed on a Y-on-Y basis. That's how we do it. See, like for example, VIP industries, if you look at it, VIP industries is more into tourism. And if you look at the VIP numbers are always tilted. The first quarter is the best quarter normally for the VIP. Why? Because marriage season, because of travel, tourism and so on and so forth, which turn out to be a good quarter. But the subsequent quarters are not so. Some of the fertilizer companies, something similar, where the first quarter would be very good because of Kharif production, Kharif plantation of Kharif crop, and that's why they would do. Or some of the seed companies, which would do well. But so that's why our system analyze in that manner only. Because isko quarter on quarter karna hai, isko Y on Y karna hai. So sometimes we don't give importance if the company has to do well on Y on Y. Even if the quarter on quarter numbers are bad, our system will not recommend sell. They get adjusted in our system. Prakash, in the currency market scenario, our personal portfolio which are made of Mojo structure. I think you are saying current market scenario, not the currency market scenario. Okay, sorry. The current market scenario, our personal portfolio which are made of Mojo structure are underperforming the market. Is it due to high volatility in the Nifty constituents? You are right, sir. Prakash, sir. So what you need to do understand that, sir. Short-term underperformance, outperformance doesn't matter in life. कोई मायने नहीं रखता है. देखो एक सिंपल एग्जांपल देता हूँ. Again, I am a very big fan of cricket, so cricket का एक analogy देता हूँ आपको. India versus England first test match. England got all out very poorly in the first inning. India has a very massive lead to the England. Ultimately, England won the match. Am I right? And that's also very comfortably. तो शॉर्ट टर्म में वो लगता था कि यार इंग्लैंड जीत जाएगा, इंग्लैंड हार जाएगा. समवन प्रेडिक्टेड, रवि शास्त्री कमेंटेड दैट 3 दिन में तो मैच खत्म हो जाएगी, इंडिया विल विन द मैच. वो हुआ नहीं. सो शॉर्ट टर्म अंडर परफॉर्मेंस, आउट परफॉर्मेंस हैज नो मीनिंग एट ऑल. तो ज़्यादा एनालिसिस नहीं करने का उसके ऊपर. सी दैट्स व्हाई आई ऑलवेज कीप सेइंग, इफ योर अप्रोच इज राइट, eventually your result would be good or excellent. If your approach is wrong, even in the short term, if you are making money, doesn't mean that it's going to replicate in the future. So since you are recommended to perform putting money in the Mojo stocks, eventually it will outperform and outperform significantly. That's my assurance to you. Rajesh, can you please change my RM, PMS RM on screen? I call her, she not call me back always. Point taken, Rajesh ji. Just मुझे उनका forward कर दे आमिर. I'll see that first I'll ask her why she did not make the phone call, and definitely if required we will change your RM. Don't worry. मुझे भेज देना. Mustafa is saying, hi Sunil, if script reached the 25%, then adding more money in the same script, like every 25 adding is a good investment or not, please. Okay. So Mustafa sir, there is no standard rule that you should apply. If 25% ऊपर चला गया, तो at that point of time you should look at it, whether this company still deserves to be bought at this level. And if yes, please go ahead and buy. But there is no standard thumb rule नहीं है सर कि ये 25% ऊपर गया तो I have to add more or so and so forth. Am I right? And same way वो कंपनी 25% नीचे गई तो should I, because some people do averaging, am I right? Should you do the same thing? There is also no thumb rule on that. Am I right? It's all depending upon company to company, sector to sector. उस हिसाब से आपको डिसाइड करना है कैसे करना है. So ऐसा कोई स्ट्रेटेजी मत बना के रखिए, because you will perform very badly if you apply this strategy. It has to be depending upon the quality of the company, which stage it is, and so forth. And that's where you should look at it. Prashant Singh, sir, please share your view on rubber and tire product company. These stocks are gaining day by day. So I must tell you, Prashant ji, we have invested heavily in our PMS on the tire companies. Why we have invested? Because we believe they should outperform. In fact, they have outperformed and they will continue to outperform. I think the replacement market and export market is one of the major driver for the tire companies. Ashwin is saying, can we expect time and price correction in Nifty? Sir, expect करना तो कुछ भी हो सकता है. There is a possibility that can happen. No possibility can be ruled out. As I said, we do expect market to go a little volatile, so there could be some amount of selling that could come in. Whether it comes, doesn't come, we don't know. But short-term volatility should not frustrate you, should not deter you. In fact, we have said again, time and again, 2024 is going to give you ample opportunity to create good wealth for future if you act very smartly. Because 2024 is going to lay the base for the next big rally. If India's economy is to go to 7 trillion by 2030, you can imagine the kind of wealth is going to be created by the equity investors. So don't give too much time correction aayega, price correction aayega. This all get eventually be played out. Okay. Why? Because India is going to do extremely well in terms of GDP growth. And if GDP growth happens, there is no force on the earth can stop India's in the equity market doing very well. Because market to GDP will expand, and if that expands, we can see a lot of alpha. Again, I repeat, those who may have not attended my April 2nd, 22nd April 2022 event, I have predicted Sensex 1.25 lakh and Nifty 37,000 by April 2027. And I continue to believe that this level will get achieved. That means I'm talking about 3 years down the line, जो 70,000 चल रहा है सेंसेक्स वो 1.25 lakhs हो जाएगा और 21,000 निफ्टी चल रहा है वो 37,000 हो जाएगा. And I believe that's going to happen in the equity market. I know you will have more questions for me, but we are running out of time, and hence I need to say good night. Please come and attend my on 1st Feb budget analysis webinar exclusively for, and this webinar is invited to all because Thursday I normally invite only PMS customers. But since it's a budget day, this webinar will be open for all. So please come and do join us. With this, have a great time, and do go watch the budget speech of the finance minister on 1st Feb. It would almost really start at 11 a.m. Bye, good night.